Welcome. This is Ram Forward, a weekly podcast about the Los Angeles Rams, hosted by two guys in California and Florida. It's LA Rams, coast to coast. Hi, I'm Forrest Kelly. I'm the guy on the West Coast in Joshua Tree, California.
And I'm Mark LZ Rams, coming from you from Northeast Florida.
LZ Rams. Now, what's that all about? Tell me about this, Mark.
Well, LZ stands for Led Zeppelin, my favorite band, and my other passion in life besides the Rams.
Why Led Zeppelin? You're not English, are you?
No, I guess the power of Stairway to Heaven. It's such a dominant song that it just carries Led Zeppelin, the whole catalog, along with it. It's really because of Stairway.
I like Led Zeppelin, although probably not popular. My favorite album from them is In Through the Outdoor.
Yeah, that's a good one. Has All My Love. That's my second favorite Zeppelin song behind Stairway, so that's a good album as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my favorites as well. And then I like Hot Dog. That's just kind of a fun go for it song. So how I wanted to start a podcast. I've got a podcast called the Best 5 Minute Wine Podcast that talks about wine, and that's kind of my wife's passion, not really mine, but I've learned to grow and appreciate it. But my passion is sports, and I'm a huge Rams fan. So I was looking to start a podcast, and so I went to, what's the website, Mark?
Turf Show Times.
Yeah, I go to so many of them, I lose them all. And I appreciated your posts in the forums and different things, so I reached out to you. Little did I know that you would almost be the same age and you'd almost have the same background of being a Rams fan as I do.
Right.
I've got my story and about how I became a fan. How did you become a fan?
Well, I live in Florida now, but I grew up in northern New Jersey in the 60s and 70s, and like most kids, I followed the local pro sports teams. So I rooted for the Yankees and Mets, Rangers, and Knicks. But I never really liked the Jets or the Giants. So I started following football in 1967. So for several years, I followed the NFL, but didn't have any team to root for. And then one day, it was in 1972, I was watching a telecast of a Rams game. And they showed a camera angle down the line from the wide receiver that showed all the Rams offensive linemen, one right after the other. And that image of all those Rams helmets with the horns, one after the other, looked so cool that on the strength of that, I said, I'm going to become a Ram fan. and then in 1973, they switched to that royal blue and yellow uniforms, which I still think are the coolest uniforms in pro sports. And after that got me hooked, and I've been a Rams fan for life. So it was really because of the uniforms and the helmets. That's what got me into the Rams.
Yeah, that was 73. That was the quarterback was
John Hadle.
Yeah, that was his first year that he came from.
The Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers, and
right.
And then who was the coach? Was the
was that Tommy Prothro?
Yeah,
before Chuck Knox? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was Tommy
I'm not
Prothro.
Sure. Yeah,
it was the coach. So even though you grew up in New Jersey, weren't the Jets big then? When
they'd won the Super Bowl a few years back, but even with that hype, I just couldn't. I can't explain it. I mean, theoretically, I should have liked either the Giants or the Jets or both, but I just didn't. There's no accounting for taste, and you just watch a team and they say, I have no interest in these guys, and I didn't want to watch the games. And then the Rams came along, and they captivated my imagination, and I've never looked back. So
yeah,
that's just the way it is.
I think it was the sixth grade. My mom took me school shopping, and we were at a store, department store, since gone out of business. But it was called Bon Marché, and it was a 3-level small town, less than 20,000 people in this town in Idaho. And we were down in the bargain bin of the basement, the clearance rack. And being in Idaho, she says, you got to have a sweater for the wintertime. And so she gave me a choice between the Dallas Cowboys and the Rams. And like you, I was just mesmerized by those that helmet and that the actual, it could really picture a ram actually hitting something.
Right.
And so I said, I'll take the Rams one there. And I didn't know anything in particular about the teams or anything like that. And then, of course, grew up with the fearsome foursome. They were kind of fading as I came aboard, but I had Roman Gabriel was, my first poster on my wall as a kid growing up. And so here we are, and our goal is to just kind of rehash what's, you've got a great knowledge of the Rams. You follow how many newspapers and how many articles?
Well, growing up in New Jersey, that was before the internet. Exactly. And it was before satellite dish. So, they had the Giants and Jets on every week. So every once in a while, the Rams would be on as a nationally televised game or as Monday Night Football. But mostly I follow them through the newspaper articles, things like that, so I could stay in touch with the team. But I didn't really get to watch very many games until the playoffs rolled around. If you think back, we won, I think, 6 or 7 straight NFC titles from 73 to 79. So I got to see them on CBS back then in the playoffs, and then the one year they made the Super Bowl. But it was few and far between the games I actually got to see the full game. And what I really liked was when the Rams were playing at home. Back then they were playing at the LA Memorial Coliseum. And I just think that I've never been there, but just looking at it, that looks just like such a fantastic venue. The Super Bowl one was played there, and it's just got a great history. And so the Rams playing at home in the LA Coliseum, for me, that was like the best thing to watch as a kid, but it only happened a couple of times a year. So every time the Rams were on, it was a big deal. Everything stopped because it was one of the 2 or 3 times that the Rams would be on TV. So I had to watch the game, and it's not like now where I get to see all the games. Back then, a Rams game was a very unique and rare event, so it carried a lot of clout, and I looked forward to it, and it was very exciting for me.
Yeah, I got the same experience where just I remember later on George Michael's Sports Machine.
Yeah, right. Sunday night.
Yeah, he would come on, and same thing with Howard Cosell, and it's like just those. They'd only show 2 or 3 plays of the Rams, especially if they won. I would really make sure I tuned in to watch to see the winning plays and things, and it's hard to imagine that we were living off of these little niblets of coverage of what we've got now. We've got you got it on your phone, you got it on your iPad, you got it on your desktop, you got it on your big screen TV, you got it on the kitchen. You've got so many options.
Right.
And it's a great time, especially to be a Rams fan. And coming off the Super Bowl victory last year, we've got a lot to talk about. So looking forward to as we progress throughout the season. We'll give you different perspectives. I think in our first episode, of course, we'll talk about the matchup with the Bills and the Rams, kicking off the 2022 season.
I want to give a shout out to my friends on Turf Show Times. And as we say there, the good luck mantra is horns up, baby. So you'll be hearing me say that a lot because that's the good luck chant that we say before every game.